Hi, welcome to the small shed. This week on the Cyclekart, bit of detailing on the cart. See you in a minute. Now this is unashamedly a filler video, I'm afraid. As I mentioned last week, I'm about 2 months into a spell when I've done nothing on the cart. I think this week is actually a time that I'm going to get a chance to get out in the garage and make a start on sorting out this back end that was giving all the problem. But it's meant that I've basically caught up with my old backlog of material that I'd got when I started. So there's a couple of videos that I've put together with things that you've probably half seen or not seen at all. This week, looking at how I've put one or two of the details on the cart. These are things that went on while I was doing the build, sometimes just waiting for materials to arrive and that sort of thing. And the one next week is basically I built a small weighbridge to weigh the cart, and I wasn't sure, it's a bit of a crossover video because it's sort of more woodworking than cart, but it might be useful to anyone who wants to weigh their carts. It's a relatively cheap and straightforward way of doing it, but getting the same sort of results that you would get if you had a quite an expensive weighing setup. So we'll dive in now and make a start on looking at some of the things that I was doing on the cart over the last probably 4 or 5 months, just to bring it up to that stage where it was out running 2 months ago. I want to get the cowl into a decent primer state, if you like, pre-paint rather than just a coat of primer on it. And to do that I need to get this depression over this side filled. So I'm just going to put a bit of cling film over the existing bonnet and effectively use that as a template to work to. So we'll get that onto there, and then it won't matter if I get any smeared onto the bonnet, it'll just sit on there. But now I can use that as a profile to match between the bonnet and the cowl all the way around that gap. Get it corrected and mix a bit of filler up, I think. Right, that's got the main bulk of it filled. I'll come back to it when it's dried off and get it sanded back, and I can worry about the bits when I take it off the cowl altogether. I don't think there's anything else that needs doing much at the moment, so we'll unfortunately waste that bit of filler. So that's the finished job on the Cyclekart. It's got it to the point where it's ready to go off for paint without too much rearrangement. There's still a little bit of slop in things, but we've basically taken out that big gap that there was in the cowl itself. I've just been taking this back panel apart. I was going to paint the tank, but I fear that because there's going to be petrol sloshing around, it's going to rip any acrylic paint off. It really wanted spraying in cellulose, or I presume this is stove enamelled. So I'm going to leave that as it is, purely and simply because anything else I think will deteriorate within seconds. Similarly, this back panel, I was going to paint that as well, but it's got a finish on it which is petrol resistant, so I think I'm just going to work with that. And what I wanted to do was stick a couple of laser etched bits on here just as a bit of fun. I want to stick an Austin chassis number plate on there, which I'm going to etch into it. And I've also got a black and white picture of K. Peter, after whom the kart is named, and I think I'm going to just laser engrave that there as well, because it's a sort of one of those little hidden details that nobody much is going to see, but I'll know it's there. Right, back on the Cyclekart, I'm putting like a chassis number on the back of the headrest, which will be inside the engine compartment. I wasn't sure whether to go for the black etch and then just lacquer over it, or whether to go with that, which I think I prefer. It's a bit more subtle. That is just one of those with the burnt bits wiped off, so it leaves that sort of grey aluminium-y sort of finish on it. I've put a number on it, which is one of the numbers. There's two numbers on the bulkhead of the 7 that I'm copying, and that's the earlier one of the two, XC1022. I don't know what they refer to or anything, but I need some sort of identification on it anyway, if we ever come to have a register of Cyclekarts. So I'm putting that on in the middle of the back of the headrest on the inside of the bay, as I say, and I think I'm going to do the same with that, with a picture underneath it of K. Peter. Okay, so that's got that done. I'm going to put a couple of dummy rivets in, as if it's a plate that's been stuck on. Thinking about it, there was little or no point in putting lacquer over that, when the whole point of doing it onto this material is that it's petrol resistant, and if I did it with lacquer, that would just go out the window anyway. So we might as well just tidy that up, get all this black off and turn it into a aluminium-y silver colour. I wanted. So now I'm going to put underneath that. I'm just going to go and try it on the car and see if I've got room above the tank for the picture that I want to put on of K. Peter as well. Right, so that gives me the spacing to be able to put the picture just below that, so you'll still be able to see it. It'll be above the tank, so there's plenty of room there. So we can now bin that one and import pictures. Let's find the one we want. It's the one we want. We want that on discrete engraving, and we want it as big as we can. Right, and we set the frame positioning up. Okay, it's done, and start engraving. Right, that's got that done, so we'll do the same thing again. We will take that now and clean it. That should give me what I wanted. Just a subtle, like a ghost of K on the back of the bulkhead. Brilliant, so I can now clean that up all the way down and just spray the other side green and we're done. Just to finish things off, I'm putting some tiny rivets I've just drilled out on the fake registration plate, and I'm just going to put a pop rivet in as if it's been riveted on. So that's pretty much completed the back of the seat now, and I've sprayed up the front side silver. I've lacquered and scratch brush finished the other aluminium, so that's now ready to go into the cart, and there'll be like an upholstered headrest and backrest in there anyway, so most of it will be covered up, I think. Right, I've decided that the bulges on the sides of the bonnet, I've been waiting for some magical solution to come along for a long while, and I haven't yet found it, so I've decided that I'm going to have to make them myself. So I'm just turning up some wood. What I'll do is I'll turn the whole shape like that and then cut it in half. That will do me the two in the bonnet, lower bonnet sides. Then I've got to make one that's similar to that and a very big one for one of the other bonnet sides, but they're one-offs, whereas this one I need two that are symmetrical. So we'll just finish this off and then we can just slit it in half on the bandsaw, and we'll have the two bulges. They'll need sanding, sealering and a few other things, but I think we'll get a decent finish on them when we're finished. Right, that's got me the two pieces that I wanted that go on either side of the bonnet. They effectively just bulge out over the cam covers on the real thing. They just need a bit of a sand on the back to get them flat. Just cut them in half with a bandsaw, and then they can be attached to the bonnet sides. I need to make one more like that, and as I say, the great big one. And I also need a shape making for the arm relief over the exhaust pipe. That's also a big one that's just got a piece chopped out of it, so I might have to make one for that as well and make a mould off that one because it needs to be hollow, but it's a start anyway. Just spent the morning at Menin Sheds, and while I was there I've taken an old newel post and turned up the bulge for the bonnet lower side. It's got a big depression in it, but it won't matter because I only actually want a slice of this. A lot of nail holes in one side, but if I use the other side, it should give me pretty much what I want. I'll saw that up now and get it cut lengthways. That should give me the last big bodywork bit of work to do. I can just now, as I say, slice that down along its just above the axis of the centre line, and then we can put some threaded inserts into it and screw it on. Let's get that line established. So that should go on there like that. Just mark the centre line because it's slightly sloping downwards because the bulge itself tends to slope down. So I'll just mark the centre line on here of the bulge itself and a couple of points where we can run bolts through. I think it'll only need two. I suppose I might have one in the middle, I don't know, we'll see. Should be relatively self-leveling in that the bulge itself will have some rigidity in it. And what I'm going to do then is to go through from the back with the screw, the drill, once we've got it held in place roughly. So we've marked out where it's got to go. We will pop that on in place. About right. And then turn it over. I'll mark out the inserts then. They need to be, I think, a 5mm hole. That's fairly straightforward because it's quite deep. I'm not so sure about this one because we don't want to come out through the back. But I need enough room for the screw itself to go in, or I've got to cut the screw down, one or the other. Perhaps do the spot more. Let's just gently try it. I just feel that starting to touch then, so let's see what happens. Oh, that'll be fine. So we get the inserts out and pop in. The Allen key. Below the surface. That one. This will again need a layer of, or a smear of filler all the way around the edge, like a flexible filler. But I don't think I yet want to glue it on. I don't know why. There's no reason why I shouldn't, I suppose, but it has got to have some paint on it anyway. I need to primer filler it first. But that gives me the main power bulge. Well, it's a pipe housing bulge. There is a smaller teardrop to go on here, which I've yet to make, but I can do that one on my own lathe at home. A little bit of filling on this, but I think that should do me. But there's quite a bit of filling got to go on these louvers that I've cut down as well, so I can do all that together. And again, here's the bulge in position and in primer. Again, it will need a lot more work to get it actually painted, but it's one of those things that now it's done like that. There's one more bulge like that to go at the back end of it, but we can then move in and start and tidy up each panel bit by bit and paint them up to the green when it's ready to go into final paint. Okay, so that's some of the detailing work that's gone into the cart, that's sort of gone on behind the scenes, and as I said before, sorry it's a filler, but we are on the move with getting things done. I've now got the garage cleared. I'm in there and working on the cart, and hopefully by the time I've got next week's video out the way, we'll probably have some more content, so I won't get any sort of a break in the running program. Hope the video was of interest. Look forward to seeing you next week. We'll be doing something different on the Cyclekart. I'll see you then. Bye.